Hello everyone, welcome back to the One Talk podcast. You're here with your host Ryan McCarthy, and today we are joined by Lewy Chad. Lewy is a professional boxer fighting at the Combat Sports Coliseum in Brisbane, and within today's episode we discuss boxing, life, mindset, Lewy's journey through boxing, up-and-coming fights, becoming the Oceania Intercontinental Champion, and so much more. It was such a epic conversation. It was really good to get behind the gloves and meet Lewy and to get inside of his mind and all of so his mindset and how he likes to train and perform and all the other things. So really keen for you to check out today's episode. In other news, if you could please leave this podcast a rating, it means so much in terms of helping this podcast grow and reaching a larger audience. It just helps get this message out there. Plus, if you could leave this podcast a rating, whether you're on Spotify or Apple, if you could leave us a rating, it would mean so much. If you're on YouTube, if you could subscribe as well, it would mean the world. But without further ado, let's welcome Lewy.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all. The marathon continue. Lay that victory lap tonight, though. Victory lap tonight.
Welcome to the One Talk podcast with Ryan McCarthy.
The marathon continues. That's what you would say.
Welcome, Lewy Chad. How are you, brother?
I'm good, bro. How you been?
Doing well, thanks, bro. Thanks for joining us today on the One Talk.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. Our first podcast, so yeah, excited.
Yeah, no, it's really cool to have you come on because I've been watching you over the last few weeks, like preparing for this interview and watching your fights, and to see someone developed, confident, and also just so eager to get themselves out there into the boxing world and to chase the dreams that you're doing, bro. Like, it's inspiring to see, and it's really cool to see someone of your age going after it.
Yeah, no, thanks, bro. It's it's a lot of work, and like obviously you got to put yourself out there, and because if you don't believe in yourself, then who else is going to believe in what you're trying to say and what you do? So I've just show that my belief in myself is 100%. It's real, it's authentic, and just keep going out there and doing what I do.
Yeah, because like I know we had a bit of a chat before this, but you've had to make some sacrifices to get this career kicked off. Like you had to move to a different city down here in Brisbane and whatnot. So I know with everyone's story, and especially with yourself, there must be a beginning, there must be a journey to get you where you are now. Yeah. It's like for yourself, bro, like what's some of the earliest memories that you have, like first getting into boxing, and also where are you from?
First getting into boxing, it was sort of, I think I was just a young high school kid, probably 15. And then, I walked into a gym. It was free. It was free for anyone. It was called Bad Boys in Townsville, just a hot shed in Townsville in the showgrounds there. I just got into it. Just was punching the bag there every day, just rocking up every day. I wasn't always getting time with coaches and all that. Coaches were always worried about the fighters and all that. But once I kept going at it, I built a good relationship with one of the coaches there and ended up going off and went to a gym in his backyard. And that was called Dreams Boxing Club. And then, I spent a good majority of my whole amateur career there. Enjoyed my time there very much, and amateurs in Townsville and traveling all around. And I think that's where I just really developed a passion for it. And then, from Townsville from there, I had to sort of figure out what I wanted to do with this sport that I've sort of built and honed my craft there with Shane Fozzie Hooper was my coach. And from there, I had to figure out what I really want to do. If I want to stay where I am, just keep doing what I'm doing, because I felt like I was stagnating, and I felt like the need to get away and get more sparring, more of a talent pool, learn new things. In 2022, I sort of just jumped in the ute and drove down from Townsville to Brisbane, and didn't have too much of a game plan, to be honest with you. You just had to get in there. That was the first step, to get in there and get away and get down here and start building. And obviously it's a big wake-up call, because I felt like in Townsville, I felt like I was starting to be well-known there in the amateurs, through all the amateur crowds and all that. And I was fighting all the main events there. And down here, I'm just back at the bottom of the rung again and starting off again. And I had to really learn about selling myself and putting myself out there, find a gym for myself, find a job so I could keep myself afloat in the meantime. So I had a lot of things to deal with to get where I am, but it's all paid out, and I'm doing well now. So happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The journey, bro, because like there's a couple of things I want to break down from that. But the first one is making the journey from Townsville down to Brisbane, especially when you had a name for yourself up in Townsville.
Yeah.
Come down to Brisbane, kind of somewhat of a fresh start in a way. Like, did you know anyone when you first came here?
I didn't have any family or friends down here at the time. Actually, I did have my cousin down here. He's similar. He's chasing a dream for basketball. So he was down here with the Logan NBL 1 at the time. He's now with the Gold Coast Rollers, but he was with them at the time. So we actually just moved in with him initially for the first 6 months in Logan. And we were just like an athlete's household, just working, training, and that was it.
Sparring each other.
He wouldn't want this smoke. Yeah. But vice versa, I don't want that smoke with him on the basketball court. So but he's a talented basketball player, and he'll be one to watch as well. But so we're just both pushing each other, and both come from the same sort of same town, same family. We've always been competitive with one another, so it was good to have him when I first moved down. So he kept me on my game as a professional, and I kept him on his. So I'd give him crap if he wasn't doing his bit as a professional, and he'd give me mine. So
I think it's so important to have like people around you like that have that competitive edge towards you to like want to do things greater. But able to like push you to do things greater as well as themselves. Like, what role do you think having good people around you has in your life?
I think for me personally, it's been huge because my whole family they're all athletes and competitive, and I think that's what's shaped me into having this sort of competitive nature as well myself. Because if my older cousin was beating me at this, then I couldn't go home and go to sleep properly that night. So it was, I think it's just something that it's brought up with you with your family and with those people that are around you from a young age, and it shapes you into a good sportsman or a good athlete later on in life. So it's been good to have someone like him and my other cousins around me that pushed me at that age.
Do you feel like it's also made you like more competitive with yourself with doing greater things?
100%. I mean, we recently just had a family reunion up in Townsville, and they were reading out the list of like all the athletes and all that are there in the family, and I was sort of shocked. I was like, well, I'm a great athlete, but I'm not even the greatest in my family yet. So like I've had Australian basketball players in my family, and like footy players, and lots of talents. It was good it was humbling to see that my family have built like that, and they're all athletic like that, and it's helped me push further as well. So knowing that they can do it, then I can do it as well. So
and I think that just goes to show for anyone in life, like the importance of getting good people around you. There's a famous saying is you become the sum of the 5 people you hang around. And that bleeds into you and what you do in life. So actually having people around you that inspire, motivate you, or uplift you is so important in terms of progress.
Yeah, exactly. And it's huge. And that's something I also figured out, not just with my family member living down here, but also when I first went to a new gym down here, I realized that in Townsville, I felt like, I'm a special golden boy kid, blah, 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 no one else is training like me. And then I come down here and then I realize everyone's training like me, you know what I mean? And so there's like everyone is training hard here, and there are a lot of talents here. And like especially at my old gym, they're all dedicated and disciplined fighters. And they kept me on my ball as well with my discipline and my fighting and my training. So knowing that if I wasn't there that morning, that someone else would be, was just a big motivator for me to get up in the morning and make sure I'm staying on top of my craft and my game and learning every day.
Yeah, it really keeps you on your purpose, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, just knowing that, having that humbling experience of going, I'm not that special anymore until, and so you got to sort of question yourself: is this for me? Is this what I want to do? Is this, do I really believe in myself that much? Because this guy's training just like I am, and now you just have to push past that and go, I do believe in myself. I am here for a reason. And just know that if you keep rocking up every day and training every day, putting in the work every day, that you're not going to get surpassed by anyone, and you're just going to keep going levels and levels above. So
what really created like that belief change for you, like when you did move down there and you had that change? Because I know some people, they think confidence comes from maybe doing affirmations, but I believe it comes from actually doing the thing consistently, having repetition, and then you get evidence that it's actually working. And that comes back into you and creates a new belief system. But like for yourself, bro, like how did you create that new belief system within yourself when you maybe had some of those thoughts come in when you first came to Brisbane, seeing people train like you did? Might have been a bit humbling. And then instead be like, I'm not going to listen to that thought process. I'm actually going to put some belief into myself. Give this a good crack.
I don't know. The mantra in my head was like, 'cause my mum sort of said to me, "Oh, you're not the big fish in the pond anymore." Blah blah blah. And I was like, "Mum, I'm a shark. I don't care." But, I was
The great white.
It doesn't matter what pond I'm in. I was telling her I'm going to be king of Brisbane. Blah blah blah. Don't worry. Like, this is the crap I was talking to her about on the drive down here. And I think just having that little moment with my mum saying it doesn't matter where I go, I'm still going to be good. And just like I've always believed in myself, even from a young age, even coming from Townsville. And I didn't want to rule that out and just go, oh, just because this guy's good doesn't mean I can't be just as good or great. So I think it's part of, it's going to be part of who you are, as well as doing, like you said, doing the actions every day, getting up and training. You can't just go, I believe I'm good, and just sit back and not do anything. Like, you know what I mean? It's not going to come that way. So I think the mixture is believing in yourself and actually just getting up there and rocking up 90%. 90% of it is just rocking up every day, getting to the training every day and training every day. Like that. And I feel like that part is not a hard part when you look at it that way. Like, you just got to be at training every day.
Simplify it.
But yeah, to simplify it like that, it seems easy, but it's really not. I mean, we're talking 6 days a week, training every day, 52 weeks of the year. So that's what I'm doing, and that's what I'm still doing. And you can ask anyone around me and all my gym mates that they'll tell you I'm at training every day. So yeah.
No, 100%. Luke was bigging you up on the last podcast about it. He's saying like how dedicated you are. And I think it's so important as well to have that balance, like you said, and still have that mindset like you are, the big fish in the pond, because I think too many people can think that mindset is toxic and you should be more humble. I think you should big yourself up, because I feel like if you do have that belief within yourself, it's going to make you train like you are that person. It's going to make you walk around like you are that person, and it's going to ooze confidence into everything you do in life.
I agree. And I feel like I'm not the kind of fighter that's going to go and say, oh, hopefully I can do this and hopefully I can do that. You know, I'm going to go out there and say, no, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I might even tell you which round I'm going to do it in, but it doesn't matter, because I'm doing the work and I actually go out there and I do those things that I say I'm going to do. So I feel like that's the difference. Is actually not just being there and being all talk, is actually getting in the ring and backing it up. And so that's what I've done, especially my last couple of fights. And like before we get into the boxing side of things, like I just want to do a little takeaway piece here for maybe some of the young fighters getting into boxing that may have to make a move or a change in their life to make their dreams happen. So for yourself, it might have been a bit scary maybe, or maybe not, but terrifying.
So when you first moved to Brisbane, it was terrifying, but what were some of the things that you told yourself to really, I guess, cope with the move and accepting a new challenge in your life? Because I can imagine for young people have to make a step like that, it is something that's very daunting. And I guess any advice that you could offer here for them might do them a great deal.
I'd say just try and take it one step at a time. Get down. Like, once I first got down here, it was tough at first because I didn't really have any friendship groups to begin with. And once I kept showing up in my gym, you know, you build those relationships. But friends and family, I mean, you just got to try and stay in best contact with them through your phone and all that as best you can. And just remember what your goal and your mission was when you first moved down. I mean, if you move down here for a purpose and a reason, as long as you're staying true to that and sticking to it, you're going to have bad days, but it doesn't matter. Like, the good days will outweigh the bad as long as you keep sticking to your pathway and keep sticking to what you want to do and believe in yourself. And I feel like that's just the simple part of it, is doing that. But yeah, like, it wasn't easy by any chance or any way. It wasn't easy, but it makes it feel better when you get that hand raised in the ring and you're doing what you said you're going to do. And
I feel like it's important not to shy away from hardship or things that seem scary or challenging, because I feel like the person that makes you become, it grows you so much, being able to step into hardship and face it head on and overcome it. Like, the person you become, the characteristics you build, like, it just breeds and builds you into a different person.
And you're going to have bad days. Like, you're going to have days where you might not feel like this is for you, or you might have days where you have a lack of confidence and this and that, because that's part of the sport, that's part of the journey, and as long as you're on those nights, and nights that you need to be on, and the lights are on you, that doesn't matter. So yeah, as long as you're on when you need to be on, and you're training, you're pushing for greatness, then there's no one can stop you. And I'd say just don't let anyone from your hometown bring you down, or anyone in the media bring you down, or say anything about you. You just need to really worry about yourself and yourself only, and what you're doing. I think if you start worrying about anyone else, or anyone saying this or that, you can start to have a negative look on yourself.
Yeah, it's so true. It's like, don't believe other people's opinions and beliefs about you, because that does not shape your identity. It's like, if we go out into the world right now and pick 5 different people that we know from different areas of our life, they probably see us in a different light anyway. They all probably see us differently. So who we truly are to our core, it doesn't matter what other people say about us, because we know who we are. But you got to have that certainty within yourself, like who you are.
Yeah, and I think that's what I've had to deal with more recently as well. Just with my last few fights, had a bit of chit chat, and I think people see me as a young sort of cocky kid, I guess. I can come across, when I'm confident, I can come across as cocky or arrogant or whatever, and so people think that I'm like that to everyone, when they just see me talking to my opponent like that. But what you realize is I'm actually getting in the ring to punch this guy in the face. So I'm not going to be real nice to him. So outside the ring and outside of all that, I actually am a nice guy, but it's hard to get that message across to people when they only see you in small bursts in the media saying this or that to one guy. And I've had a few sprays from grandma back home saying, you bloody showboating and doing this and that, and so sorry grandma, but yeah, we'll just try and dial it back a bit sometimes, and just show that I'm confident, not cocky. But it is what it is. If they're going to think what they want to think, they can do that, but I only care about what grandma thinks at the end of the day, and what my mum think and all that. So yeah,
like, I think some people may think you're cocky until they see you perform and win. They see you back it up, and then eventually they see his confidence. Like Floyd Mayweather, he was one of the kings of trash talking, but he always backed it up. So it's like, at the end of the day, it may be cockiness to begin with, but eventually it just gets seen as confidence. I find.
And he's one of my favorite fighters to watch, because he just, everything he said he was going to do, he did, and he's a great fighter, great defensive fighter, very smart fighter as well. So
because I was watching like your press pre-conferences with Adrian Rodriguez, and I know he was saying that you're cocky and he wants to humble you and stuff. But I remember after the fight, I was watching loads of clips after the fight that you had with him, and one person commented, to be fair, he did back it up. Fair play to him. So it just shows, like, people may have that mindset about you, but as long as you back it up.
Oh, that's it. Hopefully Adrian doesn't hate me still.
I think a lot of people understand this. Like, it's within the sport and it's nothing personal. Like, as long as you don't do like a McGregor and make it super personal and say things about family and stuff.
No, I never crossed that line, So I still keep it like lighthearted and friendly and fun when we're having a chat on the press conferences, But some people can take it the wrong way, I guess. But it is what it is. That's just part of the sport.
Part of entertainment.
Yeah, exactly. Because it is entertainment at the end of the day. Getting in the ring, it's almost like a stage set for you. So you got to go out there and perform. And
especially if you fight at somewhere like Eaton's Hills, like that place packs out.
Yeah, I love
so many eyes on you.
Yeah, I love fighting at Eaton's Hill. Hey, it's a really good venue, and it's good after parties there after too.
Because like, I'm very curious. Like, I've always wondered this about fighters, bro. Like, in the moment, like, let's just use maybe the Adrian fight, since we're talking about it. Like, building up to it with the trash talk and getting into each other's head, and then being able to have to back it up on the night. What's it like dealing with that pressure? Or is it more so something that gives you more confidence because it makes you work harder in the gym? What's that like for you?
I feel like it gives me more confidence, and I feel like it can, if they're an emotional person, it can mess with them more than it'll mess with me, because when I'm in the ring, it's just like you see my sort of face or eyes will change. Like, I'm not in there for any sort of personal reason. I'm just in there to do my job and handle it. And sometimes they can get be the opposite and be a bit too, take things personal and be a bit emotional about it and fight differently because of it. So it can work to your advantage in some ways. But I think, what was the question again? Sorry.
So like how do you deal with the pressure of doing the trash talk and building up to a fight, and then having to deal with the pressure of performing?
So I was going to say, I think the pressure, it actually helps me, because I feel like every time you get in the ring, it's win or lose at the end of the day, and it's all that pressure is enough pressure anyway. But I don't mind adding extra pressure, because if you lose, you lose. You win, you win. You know what I mean? Like, that's the sport we're in. We're both in it. And I like to add a bit extra pressure because it makes me perform better, makes me want to lift to do what I said I was going to do. So yeah, I feel like I lift more when I do pile the pressure on me, and that's why I don't mind adding a bit more tang to the fights by talking a little bit more and saying I'm going to do this and that. Yeah,
I feel like it'll help you like in those moments when you're in the gym in camp, and then you're probably at your wit's end of like maybe doing a long run or doing a hard session. And you got to like do that little talk with yourself where you got to motivate yourself to keep going. Bringing up moments like that in your mind, like, no, I've got to keep going because I've got to work hard to prove myself on the night.
100%. And that's just mental talk. I think I have that little person in my head all the time talking to myself. So just some sort of mental chat, and keeps you focused and keeps you pushing. And I mean, I get that even in between rounds of sparring. Like, you come back and you might have had a shit round of sparring, but you'll come back and say, all right, head on, go on, you switched on now, you know. And I'll tell myself, like, you know, you're better than this, you're best, yeah, you're the best, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll go out next round and spar really, really great. So it's just, I think sometimes, personal mental chats with yourself are huge to keep yourself motivated and keep yourself training and doing it at elite level.
Yeah, and what's the mindset process for yourself, bro? Like, with having so many eyes on you on the night watching, because I know the number one fear in the world is public speaking. Like, they did a study on it. And now I'm thinking about it. I feel like getting in the ring and fighting in front of people would be harder than public speaking.
Maybe. I don't know. I'd still fear public speaking more than fighting in front of them, to be honest. But I feel like, I don't know, it can make you or break you, I guess. Some people just can't deal with that, and some people can. And I don't know. I feel like I've always been fine fighting in front of crowds, atmospheres like that, because from a young age, in Townsville, I've fought as main events since I was 16, 17. So fighting in main events back in hometowns in front of big pub crowds, you know what I mean? Those crowds in Townsville at the pub, like, they're not very nice all the time. You know, they're yelling things out and they're carrying on, bringing in a good atmosphere. You know, so I feel like I kind of got used to dealing with that atmosphere from a young age, and now I sort of thrive on it. Yeah,
like you just fire off the energy of other people.
I love it. I love the second I get through those ropes, and I have a look at the crowd, see everyone there watching me. It's what I'm here for, and I enjoy it.
And like when you're in the ring, is it more, because I'm trying to get like someone who's never done boxing in their life, like I'm just thinking about when you get into the ring and that first bell goes, like, do you kind of forget about the crowd and you're super locked in, or is it a mixture of both? Like,
I don't know. I used to say, I don't really hear anyone but my coach, but every now and then a few people will yell something out at the top of their lungs and you'll hear it in the back of your ear, you know? So, I don't know. I'm more just listening for my coach's voice, when I'm in there. But I think the more experience you get, the more you can actually hear more and do more, and you can actually get to a point where you're just fighting and you're listening to what your coach says, and he's almost controlling you like a PlayStation controller, you know what I mean? So, I feel like as experience comes, you can start to hear more and do more at the same time. So, I hear people in there sometimes when they're yelling out. So I think someone yelled out, "Get another massage from Bo," in my last fight, and I yelled back while I was mid-fighting. I was yelled out, "Yeah, Bo does good work." So Bo was my massage therapist for that fight. So someone's must have known that and yelled out from the
free
crowd.
Promo for Bo.
So Bo got some free promo in that fight just because I heard that one guy yell out. So I can hear people in there. So
I can imagine, like, especially if you do thrive off the crowd as well, people do yell at stuff. You probably, because you do seem like an entertainer, like through your press conferences, through the way you fight, like you maybe do showboating. You're interacting with the crowd, so it kind of seems like
there's nothing I love more than hearing the crowd go "ooh" when you land a big shot. You know what I mean? You land a big, crisp, nice right hand or something, and you hear the whole crowd go "ooh" like that. I love hearing that. But when I watch back the fights, and you thrive on it in the moment as well. You go, "Oh yeah," you can look at your opponent and sort of egg them on a bit more, and
Is it in the moment, like when you got someone rocked maybe against the ropes? And all the crowd's like screaming, like, because you basically want to see blood. They want to see you go for it. Like, is it hard to not just go all the way in and like try and keep yourself calm in the moment, because your coach is probably saying, or maybe from the past experiences in boxing, that you can't just go and swing and just in case you get hit.
Yeah. Well, that's it. And I think that's the hard part, is if the crowd does thrive you on and you love it. You can when you hear them roar, like you can just start go in and start letting them hands go. And I think in the fourth round of my last fight, I hit him with a good shot, and then I just let my hands go because I heard the crowd roaring, and I think for 30 seconds I was just throwing hands. But yeah, no, that's not always the go-to. Sometimes you want to be more measured and calculated. So if you land that big shot, sometimes it's better just to step back and keep your distance, and then pick the next shot. So I found that when I did that in that last fight, that's when the knockout come. Instead of just listening to the crowd and going ham. So you obviously need to stay calm and cool and collected, and just don't listen to the crowd and don't let them egg you on too much all the time. Yeah.
You find, like, I've seen some of your fights, it really seems like you enter like a flow state, like especially that round 4 against Ben Horn, especially like definitely in the first 4 rounds against Rodriguez. Like you seem like you get in this flow state where just you're dodging punches, you're throwing punches, like it kind of seems effortless to you. Like do you know, like, do you tap into much of flow state, or is it just in the moment you feel things are just ticking?
It's a hard question. I think I do, like I told you before, I do a bit of meditation and things like that before a fight, and I do try and like be as calm and cool before I go out there. So I do try and, I guess, I wouldn't say tap into like a flow state, but I feel like it happens naturally for you once you get out there. And I told you, like, my first thing when I'm getting in the ring is getting my distance with that jab and figuring that out. And then once I get that, everything else starts to come for me, So it's sort of just like once I do that step and then this step, and then the rest of it sort of just comes, and it's all natural from there. And I think even that Rodriguez fight, I think it was first round, and I felt good. I got my distance on the jab. And then first round, I was starting to do like these ones and looking away and showboating. But that's because I was comfortable and I felt all right in there. I didn't feel in any danger, So I think I hit a good flow sort of state at that time, and I was just picking them off and having fun. Yeah, and I find when I am having fun, that's when I fight my best.
Yeah, it's so true. I do feel like, especially any area of your life, like if you're enjoying it, you're going to be so locked in that moment. I feel like when you're super stressed, creates too much pressure, and then you can overthink things. You might not throw that punch, or then you may overthrow a punch, and then
make you hesitate or something. And I think I've learned that through my pro and my amateur career. Like, there's no point in putting too much pressure on yourself or hesitating, and just it's all going to happen anyway. It's it's already set, so just go out there and just do your thing and have fun and fight hard. So
be yourself, bro. Like, when did you know like boxing was for you? Was it when you first got into the gym? Was it maybe a couple of years after doing it and you thought you can make something from it? When was that moment for you?
At first, like, I'll be honest, I didn't just walk in the gym and smell the gloves and go, "Yep, that's it for me." I was more like a footy player, and NRL was like the big sport in Townsville, so I was wanting to be a winger or a fullback or something, and I was playing a lot of footy, and I got into boxing in the off season at 15, and and like I was drawn to it, and I liked boxing, and I watched it with Dad on TV and stuff. But it wasn't the goal at the time, you know what I mean? And then I think I was 16 when I just decided that I was going to quit footy. I was in the first 13 and stuff. I was in the development for footy at school and all that, and then I missed out on the development game, and then I was like, that's it, I'm just going to boxing this year, Dad. And I went and did that, and in grade 12 I had my first few boxing fights, and then just went from there. And then I think it was in grade 12, I think I just had my second amateur fight, and I was training up again now for another fight. And I just remember, I think this was sort of the moment I was just like, this is the shit I love, you know what I mean? I think I just had a good spar, and I was sparring older boys and stuff at the time, and I had a good spar, and I remember I was just sort of bouncing around in the ring afterwards, and like just sort of I just felt euphoric, and but he felt great, and I just remember thinking like, this is it for me. I love this sport, blah blah blah, and that moment sort of just stuck with me as the moment that I chose boxing. And that was the first year of boxing properly after 2 amateur fights.
Yeah, mad, bro. Because like, were you still playing rugby for your first few amateur fights, or did you completely just quit rugby and go straight to, to boxing?
No, I just completely quit rugby and just went to boxing. Yeah, so figured, I respected boxing, and I knew it took a lot to get in there, and I was fighting adults from a 16-year-old, so I just wanted to go in there and give it respect and treat it properly, and so that's what I did, and I just loved it. Never looked back after I started it. Yeah.
Since boxing, since 15, 16 years old, like, how has boxing helped you in your personal life, you reckon?
Well, I'd just say it kept me out of being a ratty kid, I guess. I mean, my parents were sort of going through a divorce at the time, and I went from being a good student in class and all that to sort of being a failing student and throwing a few house parties at dad's when mum was away and dad and mum were away and all that, So I was just been a bit of a rat, and just getting myself into trouble, and I think boxing sort of became the point for mum to go, all right, if you don't do your assignments and exams and this and that, then you're not going to go to boxing training, and I'm not driving you here and that. So it was just good for me to stay on a straight path, and it kept all the other distractions out of my life, like drugs and alcohol and all that. It's not something you can be around when you're a boxer. So it kept the goal in mind for me, and it just kept me on a good path.
Yeah, I was going to say, because it'll teach you a lot of discipline, wouldn't it? Especially being a teenager, having the temptations of party, drugs, alcohol, doing all the things with your mates. And like, we've all been a teenager, we've all fallen to that. But then having something to keep you disciplined and keep you on the path, I guess would have been so important.
Yeah, well, that's what it was for me. Yeah, it was just, like, I could have gone any which way at this point in my life, and I'm just glad I found boxing because, it kept me on, kept me going well, and pulled me back into the line at school, and I finished school and did everything right. So I was glad. I was very lucky to find boxing when I did.
I find like having discipline is so important, or developing it too.
Yeah,
especially at a young age.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things, like, you can develop discipline in many different areas in life, but I feel like discipline for boxing is just a next sort of level of discipline, that like your whole body and everything, like your diet. No drinking, no alcohol, no smoking, no, you know what I mean? You gotta really live by it, or you're gonna get found out in the ring. Like, this is where the truth comes out. And so I think like it was huge for me to learn that from a young age, and now I can apply it to all different aspects of my life. So it's been good.
It's not like because you're not in camp for a fight, you just sit around. Like, you still got to stay conditioned. You still got to. I find as well. Maybe you can correct me or agree with me. Like, do you find like at every fight you do, at every camp that you do, your baseline gets higher?
Yeah, 100%, and that's the whole idea of it. You get better through having your fights, and then you bring that baseline a little bit higher each time, so that way you're working off that baseline for your next fight. And that's why we train year round still. Like, I'm still 14, 15 weeks out from a fight, so camp doesn't really start till about 10 weeks out. But I'm still training every day, 2-3 times a day. Still just staying on my grind and learning something new every day. And that's what we do in boxing. You got to learn and do your drills and partner drills and all that to perfect your craft. So that's part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I want to touch on one more thing about your camp before we get into your next fight.
Yeah.
Like, what does a usual camp look like for you? Like, eating, training. Like, how much are you training?
Yeah. So usually, just normal day life of like a camp is like if you have your run or something. So you might have you usually like partner drills in the mornings where we sort of just do a drill working on a certain technique or exercise with a partner, like almost like touch sparring but not sparring, if that makes sense. And then we'll go from that and we'll do our strength and conditioning, whether it's sprints or a run or weights or whatever it is that day. And then we'll go, in between, we're going to hop in an ice bath or do some stretching, recovery, maybe a quick nap if I can get it in, and then I'll come back to the gym and we'll train again at 3. And we'll do either it's our bag work and conditioning, or it's our pad work and like working on punch sort of quality and all that sort of stuff. And obviously we always finish off with, Prickle has us doing about 1,000 abs a day when we're in camp, and and then we finish off with that and stretches, and then back home to get ready to do it again the next day. So and we do that about 6 days a week of the year, 6 days a week of the week, and
yeah. I like how you touched on sleep there. I think sleep is so underrated in terms of recovery.
Oh, it's huge. Yeah, 100%. Even just like making sure you get a good 8 hours a night is huge. It's just to prevent injuries and all that stuff as well. Yeah.
And like, does this? I wondered this after I interviewed Luke, if it messes with your sleep cycle, because I know fighters usually fight late at night.
Yeah.
So like, the time you're fighting is probably the time you're getting ready to go to bed usually. Like, how do you balance that when building up to a fight night? Like, in your camp in the leading weeks up to it, do you stay awake a bit longer and sleep differently, or what's that like?
Yeah, so probably a week or two out from the fight, try and adjust our sleep cycle a little bit. So we'll have like probably more of a sleep in the morning. And usually the week of the week out from the fight, we're only doing one session a day really. Because we're tapering back and just letting our body recover. We'll have a late sesh usually on that week every day. Usually around the time we're fighting, whether it's 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. or around that time, as close as we can get to the time of fighting, and then go home and have our 8 hours and do it again the next day. That's the whole idea, is just to adjust your sleep cycle a little bit, so that way on the night you're sort of just peaking and just ready to go by the time it gets to your fight.
Yeah, well, I guess you'll be doing that soon, because you've got another fight about to come up. Like, you're about to begin your camp in like 4 weeks or so. Against Dan Hill.
That's it. So looking forward to that one. It's going to be a cracker. Dan Hill, we've done some work together in the past. In that last camp, we did some sparring with one another. And I'll just say about those rounds, like, you would pay to watch them. They were good quality rounds, and I think the fight's going to be even better. Yeah,
I can't wait for it, bro. Like, as someone who's a fan of boxing, especially the scene around here in Queensland, and seeing you up against Dan Hill is going to be such an entertaining fight. And the house is going to pack out for that one.
100%. And something I'll say about Dan Hill is he's no slouch. He's no one that you can take lightly. He's a real fighter, and he's someone that I think will definitely make me kick through my gears on fight night. So it's not going to be an easy fight. I know I'll have to kick through all the gears with him. But I do see myself getting that stoppage and getting the win.
Yeah, and I can imagine, like, knowing that it's not going to be an easy fight would just like up the level in training camp for you too, wouldn't it?
100%. Just ups the intensity that you train at. So you might be punching the bag, but you're punching the bag with a little bit more firmness to your punches. And when you're running a little bit faster. So it's 100%. And these are the fights we look forward to as fighters. And Dan Hill, he's a real fighter's fighter, and I like to think of himself the same way. So I think it's going to be a war.
Yeah, it's going to be a really good clash. So everyone keep an eye out for that one, because it's going to be a great one.
Yeah.
To finish up here, bro, I want to get into our community Q&A that we have. So we put up a post out there, and we had a few people sending some questions from your community and my community. So our first one was, what's your prediction for the Dan Hill fight?
So I did just say it will probably be a good scrap, a good war. But I see myself getting the stoppage. Whether it's going to be early or late, I'm not sure. But I do see myself getting that stoppage. I just think I'm a slight level of skill above Dan Hill, and I see myself landing those shots I need to land and taking them out.
The next person asked, and I can see you wearing it now, what's that Soul Rich brand you're always wearing?
So Soul Rich. Yeah, so rich, you're so bitch. It's my mate's brand from Townsville. So we've been good mates for years, and he's been sponsoring me and helping me out with my boxing since I started. So I've been helping him out, and he's got a good clothing brand at the moment, and I really like the kit. I got the hat on as well. So,
we have to check them out, because actually I love those shirts, the drop shoulder shirts.
So I love them, and they're good.
Shout out to Soul Rich.
Shout out to Soul Rich.
Our next question is, what is your why?
I don't know. It can change a little bit every fight, but my why in that last fight, I think we had a lot of. I haven't really spoke about this the last one, but a lot of things went wrong for me in that last fight, and I had a lot of adversities to overcome. I had my fracture in my wrist. From 6 weeks before the fight, and I just had to deal with that through all my sparring and training, and all that, and then I had an eye infection. You wouldn't believe this crap, but yeah, I had an eye infection. Probably 5 weeks out from the fight, and then so that went for about 2 or 3 weeks, and I couldn't spar or anything because of the infection, and then. Yeah, I think I finally got back into sparring, and then the week I got back into sparring, my old coach Fozzie Hooper passed away. So I had to deal with a lot of adversity going into that fight, and I think Fozzie was just a big why for me in that one. Just like with what I had already been dealing with, and then that happening, he was a real role model for me in Townsville, and got me onto boxing and everything to begin with. And so yeah, he's been a real why for me from the get go, but it just sort of lifted for me in that fight. And yeah, I didn't think I could get any hungrier, but yeah, that got me a bit hungrier for that one.
Yeah, that must have hit hard home.
Yeah, and
passing of Fozzie. Like, what did he mean to you?
It was just a big influence. Like, it was just like another father figure to me, really. Like he, like I said in that when where I started boxing was when my parents were going through a divorce and all that, and it sort of just become like a safe place for me to go. And Dad was training as a boxer there as well, so that's where I would see my dad more often at his gym, and it'd just be Dad and Fozzie there and me training. So it was just a good getaway for me at the time, and it just he got me into the sport that sort of saved my life and has helped me to where I am now. And I couldn't thank him enough for who he was and who he is. Yeah,
I'm sure he was watching down you in that Horn fight, proud of you.
Yeah, well, I like to think so. And yeah, he was ex-army and loved fighting and boxing, and he's an ex-boxer himself. And he's just a real man's man, you could say. And it was a sad day to lose him, but it was bittersweet to win that fight for him.
Yeah, and like building up to that fight, Horn, like how did you cope with the fracture, the eye, and then the passing of someone so close to you, or on the build up to a fight? Because like you hear stories of fighters after a fight, and they talk about the injuries he had building up to it, and then he still persevered and did it. For you, like how did you still persevere with the fractured wrist, with the eye, and then the passing of a close person in your life?
Yeah, well, I don't know if you've punched these bags in here before, but they are proper heavy, and I think I did it on these bags. And then so I eased off on the bag work, and I was still just doing bag work with just one hand, and sparring was not something you can really avoid without throwing the right hand. So I was throwing the right hand, but it was just more placing it there, if anything. And so that was a major issue early on in the camp. And then the eye was the biggest thing, because that sort of just put me out of complete action for like probably 2 weeks. I couldn't spar or train with anyone. I just had to sort of come in and shadow box or go shadow box at home or something. So that was frustrating, because it was getting to the point where I was having to consider, like, what am I going to do, because I hadn't even had sparring yet, and I was 4 weeks out from what was supposed to be the biggest fight of my life, and I hadn't even had a spar yet. So I was worried at the time, but it was just a matter of, I spoke to coach. I said, mate, I need to get sparring this week. I don't care about the eye, and pretty much got sparring while the eye was still on the mend, but and I still had blotchy sort of blurry spots in my eye while I'm sparring with bloody one hand, and but it was a grind, and it was hard, but we got it done, and I knew as long as I got in the ring on the night, I'd be fine. So that was the thing that kept me going, just knowing if I get there on the night, it'll be all good. So yeah,
it's sparring, bro. It just shows like you're not throwing in the towel.
Yeah.
Instead, you still train, you still find a way.
Yeah, exactly. You just find a way, and then make it happen. And then and then obviously Fozzie was probably the hardest hit, because I was only 3 weeks out from the fight, and I had to go back. I went back home to Townsville to his funeral and all that, and so that was probably the hardest bit. Just going back and seeing all the old friendly faces, and then obviously just accepting that it has happened, because it was quite a shock. He was a fit, healthy guy, so it was a bit shocking, and I just sort of had to treat this as a job in a way, and just clock on, clock off as I came in here. I wasn't really in a chatty mood or wanted to talk to everyone, because I was grieving. So I just come in here, did my job, did my work, and then I would leave. So yeah, and that's just the way I had to get through it. And got there.
I think that's the best way you could have dealt with that situation, because I know when some people lose people in life, they kind of lock themselves away and isolate. And I think one of the best things to do is to continue doing the things you usually do as well.
Yeah. And of course, there were moments where I would have felt like, oh, I just want to go home and cry, you know, but it wasn't on the table. It wasn't something we could do. I knew deep down what Fozzie was like. He's ex-army. He was always about get up, you're not hurt, no retreat, no surrender. You know, these are his little catchphrases that sort of echoed through my mind, and they kept me going, and and just kept me. That was my why for the fight.
Just like really keep doing what he would have wanted you to do.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't stop there. You know, that's going to go on now with me for the rest of my career, because he's someone that I want to mention when I'm getting a world title around my waist as well. So he's someone I want to live with me throughout my whole career. So
keep the legacy living.
100%.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
5 years, I see myself getting the world title by then.
Let's go.
Obviously the goal at the moment is to clean up the backyard and get all these belts first. So this is the time now to learn my craft and just get everything right, get everything firing well, and pick these boys. And we've got a big division, so it's a stacked division, and we're just going to take our time, get through them all, and once we get through them all, it's onto the world scene, and then from there onto the world titles.
Bro. Our last question is biggest motivation in life.
Biggest motivation.
What's your biggest motivator in life in general?
One for me that was when I was coming from Townsville. Like I did a lot of support work and disability work, and I think some of the clients I worked with, you see how hard they have it and they have to deal with, especially some of the someone I worked with had spinocerebellar ataxia, which is like a degenerative neurological disease, and just the way he had to sort of battle through every day and all those things, and then I would get ungrateful about certain things in my life, and then I'd realize like I'm still capable and I'm still able and able-bodied, and I can go do these things and I can go train the way I train because of that. So I think just being grateful for the things I do have, and seeing what some other people have had to do in their lives to get by has been motivating for me, and I think like they were big motivators for me at the beginning, and made me motivated to just get to training and work hard, because I have no excuse why I can't train hard, because there's nothing wrong with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
that makes me curious for one more question from myself here.
Yeah.
Like, how has helping other people made an impact in your life? Because I know, like, being a support worker or supporting someone else, I find it's one of the best things we can do, like acts of service for others.
Yeah.
So how has that affected you in your life?
Yeah, well, it was a good job, and it was like really rewarding. And just like I said, it's helped motivate me in certain stages where I might not have had the motivation, but I've just seen, this guy, he still gets up to spend time with his daughter every day, and he can't even walk anymore, and he does this and that, and like just seeing that and things that people have gone through to keep their families together and keep pushing on, and I think that's just it's huge motivation for me, and that's something I want to be able to do for my kids one day, and be able-bodied and do it, But I don't know.
I get you.
It was it's good. It was a good experience to work with people like that, and just see how grateful I am for what I have in my life because of it as well. And I do youth work as well, so residential care for kids, and they're fun to work with, because it's kind of like working with a younger version of myself, and trying to lead them down the path that I got led down as a youth as well. So
amen to that, brother. And before we finish, I usually like to give the guests like the stage of maybe there's anything you want to share, maybe there's anything you want to promote. But before we wrap up, like, do you have any final words you'd like to say?
No, not really. I think I've said everything. Okay, I've gone off on a few tangents here and there, but I'm pretty happy. Thanks for having me on, brother.
Okay, brother. Louis, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Shout out to Soul Rich.
Shout out to Soul Rich. Cheers.